So we are back with All This JAWN Part 2 with me as Mikey and your guest of the week, Michael. Michael, we've been talking for a good 35, 38 minutes, I would say.
Right, having good conversation.
So we're going to jump into our main topic of the week, and I'm sure we're probably going to go for another 30 minutes because I'm sure what we're about to talk about, we have a lot to talk about. Sorry, I need some water. So our main topic of the week, if you're listening, is relationships. So why don't we just jump right in? Michael, what is your definition of a relationship?
Any kind of situation between two people.
Okay.
And I say situation because I like to keep it loose. It could be, a fuck buddy situation. It could be dating, actual, we're boyfriends, monogamous. It just has there's so many variations of what a relationship could be. I just keep it open. I say it's a situation between two people.
Okay. And you told us you were single earlier in the podcast. Yes. Is there a special someone that we're kind of talking to, or is there multiple?
So I thought I was going to move to Pittsburgh and find my husband.
Okay.
There are lots of doctors here. That did not happen.
Damn it.
Yeah. So I did kind of catch feelings for one of my fuck buddies. He's actually smart and cute, and we have bomb-ass sex.
All right, so what's the holdup?
Him.
It's always the other person, I feel like.
Honestly.
Like, you're a fuck up. We can't make it work.
Honestly. Yeah. So, yeah.
Do you see marriage in your future?
I think I would like it, but I don't think it's going to happen for me.
I feel like, why do you say that? Because I feel like I talk to some people and sometimes they say the same thing.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I just think that...
Is it just like where you are in life, where you kind of want to be?
I think I'm getting a little too old. Number one, I've never wanted it.
Okay.
I kind of grew up, I came out in the 90s, kind of dating myself. So, and gay marriage wasn't even a thing when I was a teenager. Like, I know people were talking about it and wanting it. And that was kind of like the beginning of people really kind of fighting for it legally and politically. But it was never something that me and my friends actually talked about because it was not a thing. And then so by 2016, I believe it was when it became legal.
Right.
I was dating. I had boyfriends. I actually had a boyfriend who gave me 2 diamond rings, and he wanted to live together. I just wasn't I wasn't ready for that.
Right.
Now I am in a different place, but I feel like the kinds of guys that I meet are not even thinking about that. So,
I mean, I would definitely say it's hard. For me, I wasn't really looking. I mean, you met David. It was a really rough relationship for me. And coming out of it, I was like, I'm not dating anyone for a while. I'm not having sex with anyone for a while. Yeah. I just wanted to be with my friends and the relationships with them. It was hard. So for me, I wasn't, I didn't see marriage on the rise at all. Up until 12 years ago. And to this day, I still can't believe that me and Kenan have been together for 12. And out of that 12, we've been married for 3.
I feel like when you're younger, you have the energy for it. You know what I mean? Because relationships are hard already.
Right.
Just being boyfriends. So, but I think that when you're younger, you have the energy for it. You kind of have the spontaneity for it. You have the excitement for it. And yeah, as you just get older, I don't have a lot of patience for bullshit.
Well, I feel like, as you get older, you're like, I'm not changing for nobody.
And it's not even about changing. It's really about finding somebody who really kind of compliments me in a way or gives me everything that I'm looking for. I give them everything they're looking for. And I'm almost afraid that I'll be settling. You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like for me, not necessarily changing, but I feel like, or like more so like, you're in this certain way. Like, I guess you could just basically say, like, you have certain ways about you that you're not going to change. Like, you've done all that. You lived through your 20s. You went through that whole stage. You're here. You built this whole, like, you're in your 30s. You're getting wiser now. The wisdom is there. And you're only going to settle for what that you believe that you deserve, kind of thing. That's kind of what I was going for. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. And yeah, I just feel like people are, on that same path, and it kind of makes it harder to build relationships and to kind of do that give and take that you need to make something like that work.
For me, I think what it was is I'm very selfish. Like, I'm a selfish human being. Yeah. And for me, I think the word that, always kind of stuck with me in Kenan was compromise. And there was a lot of things that I was like, fuck that. I'm not giving that up. Like, it's a non-negotiable for me. Like, this is what it is.
One of those things that you had to give up that you didn't want to.
For me, like, I mean, I guess in a way, like, I like to just, like, go out whenever I want.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going out tonight. It's Friday. Saturday rolls around. I'm going out again. And, I had to, like, reel myself back in because in my 20s, like, I grew up in the city, and at the age of 16, I was living on my own, and, I came out when I was 16, and I was letting loose out there. Like, I was letting loose. Like, and I grew up where I didn't have a lot of, like, not saying didn't have a lot of structure. My mother was, like, amazing mom, but I was very mature for my age. I know I wanted to work. I know I wanted things, so I had to, like, make money to get those things. And for me, it was just like, I'm going to do me. And, getting into a serious relationship like Kenan, it was more so, shit, I need to reel myself in a little bit because this isn't fair to my partner or my boyfriend or my husband.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah. So, do you believe that friendships can turn into relationships?
I do. I actually was talking about this on my friend's podcast. He asked me the same thing. And yeah, I think that's actually a good way, actually, to just be in your relationship, period. You know what I mean? But I get what you're saying. Like, you are friends, no, platonic friends, no sex, no romance. Can that turn into something? Yes, I think it can be good if you're both mature and honest. But yeah.
I couldn't agree more. I've been in that situation where I feel like you're saying, like, you both have to be mature about it. And for me, I think back then, coming out and my first couple years of being a gay male, I was like, I want a relationship. I want a boyfriend. I want a boyfriend. I want a boyfriend. I want a boyfriend. And growing up in a predominantly very gay family, I had my gay uncle who I used to look up to, where it was like, show me the ropes. You know what I mean? He's like, just, like, go out and live. Like, be gay, girl. Like, just go live. You don't need someone. And for me, I wind up meeting this guy who we became friends, and we were friends for, like, overall, I mean, we're still sort of friends today.
Who is it? Tell us.
I mean, I guess I'll put her name out there. I'm sure you know her. Her name is Eric, but I don't think she goes by that anymore. We'll just leave it at that.
Hilarious.
But Yes, we were friends for a couple years, and then, you know, one year he was just like...
Oh, wait, so y'all were friends and you like never had sex or anything?
No.
Oh.
I mean, he always wanted it because, you know, the whole, you know, he liked white boys, and, you know, I guess I could consider myself a muscle twink back then. Hilarious. But, you know,
we work for these cookies.
Okay, listen, I ain't gonna just hand it in like one of you hoes at the club. But yes, like, you know, we were friends for probably like 2 years, maybe a year, 2 years. And we were like hanging out every day. Like, we became best friends. And this one summer he just turned to me and was like, you know, I love you, right? I'm like, I love you too. We're friends.
Yeah, Daddy.
We're friends. Daddy. We're friends. I love you. Good night. Yeah, and, you know, one thing turned to another, and...
He pulled it out, and you said, okay.
Yeah, he was like... Daddy. I was like, I mean, I guess so. It was one of those nights, girl. I was lonely. Anyway. Yeah. So one thing led to another, and we wind up getting into a relationship. It wasn't, like, the greatest of relationships. I mean, in the beginning, it was great because, you know, I wind up falling in love with him. Like, at first I was just going to be like, all right, we're best friends. What's going to change?
Yeah.
A lot changed. It was my first open relationship, so that was definitely tough.
Whose idea was that?
His.
Okay.
Not mine. But, you know, I mean, it worked for us because we wind up liking the same boys. We like to do the same things. We hung out all the time. So nothing really changed. I think it was great. But, you know, yes, friendships can turn into relationships, and yes, they can work. You know, again, I think if the time is right and the maturity level is right.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah. So yeah, they can definitely work. But other than that, no shade. I'm still friends with Eric. And I think he's back in Philly. So, you know, we see
I'm still friends with my exes.
Yeah, well, that's a good question. Let's bring that up. I'm pretty much friends with all my exes except for David. I can't stand that bitch.
Yeah, hilarious.
Yes, she's another one. I ain't even gonna bring her to life on this podcast. But yeah. What type of guy do you usually go for, Michael? Or are you kind of open to all?
I'm open to all, actually. So my last serious relationship, we were together 5 years. He was Puerto Rican. And this is when I lived in Philly. He was 5 foot tall, which usually, like, I'm 5'11", so that's very, very short for me. And he did drag on weekends. So yeah, he was the best boyfriend that I've ever had. So yeah, I don't have a type. It's a point in that story.
Yeah. So
short, I like tall.
So you said that.
White,
wait, did you say?
Asian.
Did you say he was a drag? He did drag on the weekends.
Yes.
Funny story. When I lived in LA, my first night out, my roommate at the time, Phil, had a bunch of friends out there because he lived in San Diego. Prior to me moving to LA, we wound up moving in together in LA, and not to kind of get off topic, but again, relationships, friendships. We went out one night, and his friend, to be honest, I forget his name. Anyway, we wound up going to this club, and this boy that he was friends with was pretty much like flirting with me hardcore all night. He was very attractive, Puerto Rican. By the end of the night, he's like, now that you're in LA, like, what's your plans? Like, what do you want to do? I was like, girl, I'm just here to live life. Like, rough breakup. Like, I'm here to live life. And he wound up inviting me out one night, and he's like, can we meet at the club? And I was like, of course. So we meet at the club, and he's like, oh, I'm about to come out. Why don't you go get yourself a drink, and I'll be right out. And I'm thinking, like, aren't you here already?
Right.
Long story short, the drag show starts. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to go watch this drag show. Like, I don't know where the fuck this guy is. So we're going to go up and watch this drag show with my cocktail. And I get up there, and I'm like, looking, one drag queen goes down, next one goes down. Then all of a sudden this one comes out and I'm like, wow, this person looks really fucking familiar. So I'm like, all right, bitch, you working for this dollar. So I'm waving my dollar. She comes over and I realize that it's him.
Yeah.
In full drag. And I was like, could I date someone who does drag on the weekends? I don't know. I don't know if I can.
So my boyfriend looked fucking good. Like I bought him shoes. I was there when he was getting ready. I didn't mind it. It was never a like in the bedroom thing. We would go out to the bars. He would do his, shows. It was very rare that he would go out and drag just to go out and drag. But even on those nights, I was like, I don't care. We're just, we're hanging out.
Right.
But he never brought it into the bedroom.
Okay.
So,
if he did, do you think it would be weird, or would that be a non-negotiable for you?
It would be weird because he would just have a wig on.
Got it.
You know what I mean? Like,
you're like, girl, take this bra off, girl.
He was so small, like there was not even a bra that would like fit him.
Got it.
He was really short and at the time really slim. So, he might have had stockings on, maybe. But honestly, like it would have been maybe a pair of heels and a wig. And I'm like, you might as well just take that off. Like,
right.
So yeah, we never, that was never a thing for me. I've dated drug dealers, DL guys. I've dated them all. Older guys. I don't really do younger.
Yeah, I've realized.
Younger than me, I'm kind of like,
Prior to me getting married 12 years ago, I was kind of like, you were either like a year younger than me or like in my bracket, but you were never older than me in some sort of way. I don't know. Like, again, going back to the open relationship with Eric, I feel like he was older than me. So it was like his way or no way. And I was just like, no. Yeah. I'm not going to do that. Moving on. So do you feel like you can, if you're on the apps, do you feel like it can turn into something long term?
I've actually never, that's not true. I generally do not meet people off the apps. I'm on the apps. I see people on the apps. But I generally do not meet people on the apps. I've either met them like face to face at a bar or at a bathhouse, through friends.
Right.
Is how I generally meet people. Do I think though that it can turn into something? Yeah. I just haven't experienced it personally.
Right. For me, I think, like growing up, well, it wasn't the apps, girl. You got on the websites.
Right.
Girl, I never experienced Grindr or Jacked or anything like that. But, I have single friends that, are on it. And I actually have two best friends that have met on Grindr and have been together 8 years and now they're married. And they literally love each other.
Yeah, see, that's what I want.
So it works. It works. I'm not going to say it doesn't. It totally works. So, yeah. Speaking of exes and relationships, is there any exes of yours that got away and you're just like, fuck, why'd you have to go?
All of them. If I could, have brother husbands, I would fucking, all of us in the house, let's figure it out, let's make it work.
Right.
Yeah.
For me, I don't really think there's any that got away that I would want back ever. Ex, on to the next. I feel like there's people that I've talked to that I'm like, fuck, why did I do that? You know what I mean? Or why did I move away? Like, could have this have worked? Coulda, woulda, shoulda kind of thing. But it just didn't happen. So
again, most of my exes I'm still friends with, so it wasn't really a bad breakup. We were just young, you know what I mean? You're young and, the world is your buffet. So you're like, somebody does one thing wrong. You're like, all right, we're breaking up.
Right. For me, like, again, coming out at a young age in my 20s, I'm like, I wanted to wear the pants sometimes, but I'm just like, like, I'm not going to fucking deal with this. Like, bye. You know what I mean? Like, and then you're like, damn, like, why did I get rid of that?
Right.
And then they wind up moving on to something better. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you didn't want to do that with me? Shit.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so it is what it is, I guess. But here we are. So, yes, anything else we want to talk about relationships? I feel like we can go on forever and talk about relationships.
Yeah.
And everything and anything.
I mean, I don't really have anything. Me being single over here.
So, do you feel like after Rona and after whatever we're going through in life right now, do you think next year you will move back to Philly and look for that special someone? Or is it just all about next year getting your life together for yourself?
No, I'm looking for that special someone now. Bitch, if this shit hits again, I cannot be locked in my house by myself.
Listen, I don't know how, like, I have single friends and they're like, I'm going home and going to sleep. And then you're on the weekend, you're like, girl, come over. Girl, I'm asleep. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
But yeah, no, it's, yeah.
I definitely am looking. I don't think I'm going to find, I don't think I'm going to find him here. But, yeah, I think next year is going to be the move. And we'll just see.
We'll see from there.
Yeah.
It might be a good change. Might be a good change to come back. Philly has... Because you've been
gone... So I visit all the time.
Well, I know that, but you've been gone for how long now from Philly?
It'll be 4 years in September.
Cool. Well, as you know, Philly is growing ever so tremendously.
I know. Every time I come, it's like something new. Market Street looks like Times Square now.
Girl, the lights. You go down Market Street, I'm like, Jesus Christ. But we needed it. Yeah. Philly needed it for a very long time. And here we are.
Well, but not at the expense of Black people. You know what I mean? And that's what is kind of disheartening, is that the gallery was trashy.
It was.
But it was for everybody.
Right.
And now I feel like a lot of what they're building is not for everybody.
No, it's not. And let me tell you, if you're in Philadelphia, it's still known as the Gallery, girl. No one calls that shit the Fashion District. It's just a cute name, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
But yes.
I mean, it's just disheartening because, like, so much of the area is changing. It's being gentrified. You know, neighborhoods are being torn apart.
It is.
And it's like, I think change is good for sure.
Right.
Building new things, great for sure.
Right.
But, like, who is it for? You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I couldn't agree more. Like, for me, like, leaving the city and coming back so many times, I'm like, Jesus, I just wanted to be what I see in all these other cities. And I feel like, again, yes, gentrifying is, it's a touchy subject, but I feel like Philly needs newness that we've been missing all this time.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So, yes. So, anyway, we are coming down to the wire. I want to thank you for joining me tonight, Michael, on All This JAWN. Is there any special plugs that we need to know? I know we talked about Unzipped a little bit. How can we follow you?
So you can follow me on Twitter. My personal Twitter is mmichaels00. Or you can follow the podcast at Unzipped Pod. Again, mmichaels00 or Unzipped Pod for my Twitter.
And for all you listeners out there, Michael has been doing this for a while now, and he has a really good freaking podcast. I love them. I listen to them at work. I listen to them in bed. I listen to them late at night. I really love your goddamn topics. They're really great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So on next week's episode of All This JAWN, we are going to take a small trip to the neighborhood of Brewerytown in Philly and talk to two of my hilarious good friends, Derek and Adam, and we're going to discuss being gay and everything in between. In closing, if you like what you heard today and you want to subscribe to All This JAWN, get yourself a Spotify girl and follow us at All This JAWN. You can also follow us on Twitter at All This JAWN. Or you can follow me on my personal Instagram page at get, G-E-T, _your, Y-O-U-R, _L-Y-F-E. That's get, _your, _life on Instagram. Thanks for listening tonight on All This JAWN. Until next time, Philly, good night and be safe.